AskReddit by Risks. Citizens of Baltimore, how has the bridge collapse affected your daily life? Deleted. Were you in the wire? Had to go to a funeral this morning. I live just on the west side of the bridge. The funeral home was just on the east side. What was going to be a 10-minute drive ended up being a 45-minute drive. Other than that, it hasn't been too bad. My normal commute is clear of 695. Thank God. Sorry to hear about your loss. Drove through the harbor tunnel this morning. I saw no real change in traffic volume. Just wait until spring break is over. This week is spring break for Maryland schools. Commutes are gonna start getting awful next Monday. The bigger problem is going to be the port. Traffic will suck once spring break is over, but port operations will have a bigger impact on the city and people than inconvenient traffic routing. Trucks lugging hazardous material will have to find a different route around too, since they aren't able to use any of the tunnels. I work basically as far north in the city as is possible. No issues on my commute to speak of. There's 2 tunnels on the other side of the beltway to get through the city, but 31,000 daily users all switching to another route is going to cause an issue. This is going to impact the supply chain all along the East Coast, but normal life in Baltimore isn't going to change much beyond more traffic. I live south of the bridge. My mom and sister are east. It used to be a 15-20 drive to see them. Now it's closer to 30, possibly 40-minute drive depending on traffic. Not the biggest change, but a minor inconvenience for as often as we visit each other. Yeah, I wonder if they'll still plan to replace it once the dust settles. I lived in the city for over 15 years and used it only a couple times a year. It was never busy, especially since Bethlehem Steel went under, which I have to think was part of the reason it was built in the first place. My 45-minute drive home today took 2 hours. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. It's evident that the collapse is going to have a time and financial impact on you. It hasn't yet. Ask us again on Tuesday when schools are all back from spring break. Had to make sure a friend who works weird night hours and sometimes takes the bridge home was okay. Thankfully he was off that day. Otherwise, I haven't actually taken the bridge in years. We visited friends in Dundalk a few times back in college but haven't used it since. It's kind of out of the way for anywhere we travel. We're always in the 895 tunnel to get around the city. Whomever worked to shut the bridge traffic down in 2 minutes is the GOAT. That happened fast. My best friend died on the bridge. Struggling a lot since it was confirmed. My condolences for your loss. My adopted father keeps talking about ships and bridges as he is an engineer. Before it was trains and cars. General rush hour is added 30 minutes. Live in Harford County and commute to Anne Arundel. Absolute shit show. People that are terrified of the tunnel have to drive through it now, and it's causing much more congestion. I just can't get over it. I see what you did there. I'm still processing. The whole city state is, really. So far the biggest impact is that I'm very, very sad. I'm lucky that I don't commute through the area daily, but the whole region has instantly felt the traffic impact, and God knows the extent it will reach. It's going to be a long next few years in that regard, but it is what it is. These new frustrations are molecular compared to what some of these families are enduring, and I'll do my best to stay cognizant of that. You are asking the wrong people. Go to Annapolis and ask them when the Bay Bridge becomes the alternative hazard route. Going to be bad when beach weather hits. Can you say more about how the Bay Bridge factors into this? I'm not sure I understand how it would become an alternate route given its location and connecting points, but maybe I'm missing something. I know someone who works in Glen Burnie and lives in northern Harford County. Took them over an hour to get to the tunnel from their job and then another hour to get home. Left work at 5, got home around 7 PM. I wonder how it's gonna impact spring breakers heading down the 95 corridor to Florida or other warmer states. It absolutely won't. I think that bridge was far enough out of the way that most maps apps wouldn't redirect them that way for any real reason. My commute has increased 45 minutes already. I'm probably a fringe case though. The traffic was worse this morning coming into Arco after working an overnight and more. I usually take the bridge, but the tunnel is the only option really now. Actually, it didn't only affect the citizens of Baltimore but the whole trade in general. It's going to affect the nation as a whole dramatically. Baltimore is one of the nation's most important ports, as most people are about to find out, but the port itself should be reopened relatively quickly. This is a national security matter, and clearing out the debris is a top priority. So any economic impacts will be temporary and contained. Traffic around Baltimore, and much of the Mid-Atlantic corridor, will be massively impacted until the bridge is rebuilt, and that will take a few years. Not a citizen of Baltimore, but I work at a cafe that is along a popular route. Not even an hour into my workday a manager starts going off about ugh, this is going to make gas prices higher, and then people will buy less, so we'll have to raise the prices. For me that means justifying price gouging to my customers. Also our food drinks are expensive AF in the first place. Honestly, it hasn't had any tangible impact for me yet. My commute from just south of the city has not been affected and I didn't travel over the bridge much as of late. However, I think we'll all start to see the effects as time goes on. Whether it's extra traffic, economic decline, environmental effects from a wasting ship, time will tell. I saw what's left of the bridge today from a distance and it is truly a sad sight. It was iconic for many of us that grew up in Baltimore and the greater surrounding area. To be honest, it hasn't actually affected me in the slightest yet, but I work from home and I don't own a car, so I'm a bit of a special case.